Welcome back. You know, we live in this world and we take it to be so serious and so real. And in fact, our brain is conspiring to help with that illusion. And they say in neurolinguistic programming, in NLP, they say the map is not the territory. And you're actually living right now in the map. And what they're saying is, it's not real. It's not the territory. You're not actually living in the territory. You're living in the map. And isn't that profound? And this is exactly what the yogis say as well. They say, you are living in a dream world. And now we know through brain science that you're not living your life. You're actually hallucinating what you believe to be your life. And all of that belief, the belief portion, is based on your subconscious, what it takes in and what it throws away. Isn't that amazing? Doesn't that blow your mind? So let's get into it. So notice for just a moment that you do not have a direct connection to the world around you. You have a secondary and third and fourth and fifth connection to the world around you. You have information that is flowing in through your five senses. That information comes up to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind could not process all of that information. And so it takes what it believes to be the most relevant, and it deletes and distorts and generalizes all of that information. That means massive amounts of information. I mean, just a gigantic ton of information is being deleted constantly. And that's how you can live a separate life from a sibling, from your brother or your sister or somebody else in your family. And the two of you get together at a weekend and you say, oh, you remember that time? And you recount the story. And they go, no, that's not how it happened. Let me tell you how it happened. And they recount a whole different set of what they believe to be facts. Because they lived a different experience. They deleted and distorted and generalized a different set of information than you did. You deleted and distorted and generalized an entirely different set of information, and you were living two different lives within that same moment. The way the brain distorts information gets really, really fascinating very, very quickly, and we can see some of it in ourselves in optical illusions. So that whittled down amount of information, the brain can't possibly cope with all of the information. You would be processing literally for hours, and you wouldn't be able to answer anybody. So somebody would give you a question, and it might take you 12 or 24 hours, and then you would be able to answer. And of course, nobody can operate that way. It's absolutely impossible. And you can read about what that is like in My Stroke of Insight, an amazing book, and she talks about being continuously overloaded with information and it taking hours and hours and hours. She had a stroke. She didn't have full access to her left brain. And so because of that, all of the information would flow in. It would take her literally forever to process just about anything. And she'd have an answer for the doctor or for her family, but it would be hours and hours and hours later. So we take that whittled down amount of information, and they say it's about 5 to 9 parts. So you not only whittle down the information, you group it together into pieces, and then those 5 to 9 pieces are what you are left with in that one moment. And then there's another set, and another set, and another set of raw data, which is grouped together in this format. And so your brain has to take on the role of figuring out what this data means. And it starts to distort it because of that. It fills in some of the gaps with memory, and then it hallucinates the possibility of what we believe it is. So take a look at this photo real quick. What is it? It's a guy running away, isn't it? It's a guy running into the woods. Now wait. Did we distort and throw in our own ideas of what was going on too quickly? Look at the picture again. Is it a man running away from you? Or is it a dog running into your arms? Which one is it? And this is how we distort information constantly. Constantly. We take what we think we know and we extrapolate. And based on that extrapolation, the brain hallucinates a possibility. And we don't actually know the way it's set up. We don't know if that possibility is 1,000% correct, but the brain throws it out in case it is. And if it is not correct, if it's proven wrong, then we quickly dissimulate from that possibility and we throw up another possibility. And in this way, your brain keeps throwing up possibilities in the hope that it will arrive at a correct conclusion eventually. Isn't that amazing? So Forrest, why do you love NLP? Because this understanding, neuro-linguistic programming, begins with this understanding. It doesn't reach this conclusion and then start from there. It begins with this conclusion that your whole life and everything in it are dreamlike, insubstantial, malleable, that the entire brain and all of our personality, values, understandings, all of these are malleable. We're not some traumatized block of wood that will never change. We're not a stone. The mind is not a stone. It is plastic. It is malleable. And for somebody who has been through a traumatic event, this is such fantastic news. You can get over it. You can move on. You and your brain are designed to adapt, to overcome, and to keep going, and to survive, and to thrive. And we don't have to live in our past like a stone. The yogis talked about this kind of understanding, and they thought it was very, very relevant. And Yukteswar in the Holy Science writes, when man becomes a little bit enlightened, he compares his experiences relating to the material creation gathered in his wakeful state with his experiences in dream. And understanding the latter to be merely ideas begins to entertain doubts as to the substantial existence of the former. In other words, he begins to doubt the reality of his own life. Then the heart becomes propelled to learn the real nature of the universe, and struggling to clear his doubts, seeks for evidence to determine what is truth. In this state, man is called Kshatriya, or one of the military class, and to struggle in the manner aforesaid becomes his natural duty, by whose performance he may get an insight into the nature of creation and attain the real knowledge of it. So the brain takes the information that it has, those 5 to 9 pieces in one split second, and it takes them and extrapolates them and gets a good idea of what it thinks might be taking place. And then it casts up that hallucination through the left temporal lobe, the center of hallucination in the brain. When somebody is on a hallucinatory drug or an opiate, the temporal lobe goes crazy. So we know that this is activated with hallucinatory drugs, and the same center of the brain is activated when we walk through our lives. The temporal lobe is being activated to hallucinate those 5 to 9 pieces into a coherent whole that we can understand and take to be our lives. But it's not, is it? It's just a bunch of sense input put through the ringer of our own subconscious, our own doubts, our own fears, our own biases. And so we're living in a world literally of our own creation. And when we change how we feel about ourselves, and when we change how we feel about the world around us, everything inside of that hallucination that we are living instantly changes. That's why changing your mind is so powerful. Changing what you think about yourself, changing your negative emotions, eliminating your doubts and your fears around yourself, around your life, around others is so powerful, because it will literally change the script of the movie that you are watching, which you call your life. And so we come back to the Om Japa in the chakras. As we practice Om Japa in the chakras, in each chakra, we Om through each chakra mentally. As we do that work over and over again, we're changing the very script of our entire life. It's extremely powerful. And when we practice long breathing and enter into heart rate variability resonance, and we lower our idle, right? It reflects back on the mind, and our whole script is rewritten, isn't it? The processes which I teach on this channel are changing the very fabric of your entire life. So I hope that you loved this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.